So my wife asked me to build her some stuff for Christmas for the kitchen. She wants to have a chalkboard so that she can have what's actually out in our game freezer and our fruit vegetable freezer. And she wants a couple of shelves that mount to the wall to keep fresh fruit and vegetables in. So this is what I've come up with. Kind of a real basic drawing. So this is what the chalkboard is going to look like. Instead of just having one big giant chalkboard just to give it a little character, it'll still be all bolted together. I'm going to screw this all together and glue it. But I figured I'd stagger them. So this will be for the two different freezers. So one will be for whatever we have in our meat freezer. The other one will be what's in our fruit and vegetable freezer. So she can write down how many, what we have, and then as we take them, we can just knock them off the chalkboard. And then I'm going to build from the same type of wood. I'm going to build two more shelves that mount directly to the wall that'll look more like this from the side view. And we keep fresh fruit and vegetables in this so the kids know that if it's in the basket, it's free to eat. So the kids can come over there and just grab it anytime they want. Just real basic shelves. I built a shelf similar to this that goes on the table, but she wants them up on the wall now instead of the table, so I'm going to build something similar to that. So this is kind of the basic layout. I started to build one of these frames last night so that I can build off the second one. So I'll go grab that and we'll be back here in just a second. So here's the first picture frame. Kind of got this, just pulled it out here. I let the glue dry last night. Kind of a rough wood. My wife kind of likes the raw wood look. So down the road, if she wants it, I can always sand this. She can finish it any way she wants. But I found something that had some cool little knots and some little discoloration, kind of looked aged. Now on the back of it, I used my Craig jig to glue everything together just to make sure it'll be nice and stable. Since this is going to be pretty big, I want to be able to hold some weight. But I took my router on my routing table and I routed down the thickness of the board. So when I place the chalkboard, so here's the cut down piece. So once I place this in here, it'll actually sit flush down inside this picture frame. So it sits nice and tight, nice and flush in there, so I'll glue it. I'll put some finished nails just down here to kind of hold it in place. So that's kind of where I'm starting. So that's the first one, it's all done. So now the next one I'm going to build coming off of this side, and it's going to be pretty big, because all in all it's going to be 4 feet of blackboard that she can write on. But that's where I'm starting now, so we'll get the second one measured out, get the second one cut. So I got a 8-foot piece here. I went ahead and already ran it through my router table. I already took the edge off of it. So as I cut my pieces, gotta make sure this is all facing on the inside, make sure I cut the right ones. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. I just need to figure out how far down I wanna come. And I'm thinking I'm gonna go find a scrap piece. I think I'm gonna space it the same diameter of one of these is where I'm gonna drop it down and then have the other frame come out over here. So I'm gonna go grab a scrap piece of that and measure that out and go from there. Okay, so just kind of get an idea where I want this to come down. This is just going to be my spacer here. So now once I get this lower one figured out, I am still going to have to run the edge of this down through the routing table. That's why I haven't actually put the chalkboard in it yet and got that glued, is I want to make it a little lighter, a little easier to work with. I want to build the frame first, get everything else fitted on those 3 sides, and then just finish it off as I put it on this picture frame. I don't know if that's the easiest way, but that's what I'm going to try this time, see if that works. So I think for my first one, I have to make sure that I have enough room for my Craig jig. So I think my first cut, I'm going to come down about 7 inches from the base of this one down. I think that'll be good enough. So I'm going to grab a piece here, head over to the table. So I got that last first piece cut here. So just trying to kind of get a basic layout. So that gives me the base of this board is going to start the same diameter as this lower board here to this next cut. So I think that's going to be pretty good. So this is the board will end up sitting roughly just over 3/8 inside. So the two of them are going to sit together kind of like that. Gives a little bit of a staggered. I think that's just a little better than one big giant chalkboard. So the next one is make a couple other measurements here and start cutting out the other side of the frame. Alright, well, my GoPro battery died, so missed all the routing part of it, but I didn't even realize it until it was too late. So I got this one all routed on the table. So what I ended up doing here is just running my router along the edge. Now everything lines up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lay the chalkboard in here, and I think I have to rip just a small little tiny strip off of it. And I'm going to lay it down in here and kind of see where we end up, and then see what I have to trim off of it to make it fit. So I know this one fits in here, so just in case my cut was off on the last chalkboard, I can grab the other one here. Alright, so we'll drop down in there, perfect. So it looks like I need to trim about 1/8 of an inch off of this one, and then it'll drop down in there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this, get on the saw, cut this one down, get this dropped in, we'll get this thing finally glued up and get it drying. Okay, so we got a small bead of glue in here. We're going to go ahead and do the finished nailer along here just to kind of get everything set to hold it in place. We'll do the same thing on this upper one, then we'll put a little weight on it, let it dry. Okay, glue's been drying now for a couple hours, so I believe the chalkboard is officially done. Everything seems like it's holding together nice and tight. So here's the finished product. Kind of has a stagger to it, so it's not just a plain, just big square chalkboard. I wanted something just a little bit more character since it's going to be in the kitchen. Everybody who walks in our kitchen is going to see it, so I didn't just want a big square. So hopefully my wife likes it. This way it kind of separates out the two different freezers that we have. You know, I made this out of 1x4s. This was 3 pieces of 1x4s, and then half of a sheet was a 2x4 sheet of their chalkboard that I just had at the local hardware store. So I just picked up their pre-made one, and I just cut it in half and fit it in here. So you can actually make this chalkboard. I have some hinge hangers and stuff like that on the way. You can make this chalkboard with the boards, depending on the quality of wood you pick. I actually ended up making this for less than 30 bucks. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Okay, so here's the next project. Got the chalkboard is drying. So here's the stand that I built for my wife that we keep in the kitchen now. I built this out of 2 leftover scrap cedar pickets I had lying around. She wanted something so she could have all the fruits and vegetables out for the kids. It seems like they ate them a lot more when they were out on the table. So I just kind of cut this down. So she wants something similar to this, just smaller, that she can hang on the wall. So I'm going to take the design from this. It's so basic and simple. I'm just going to use the bottom tray. So in the sense, you're going to cut this tray in half and just mount it directly to the wall. I think I could probably make this out of 1 piece of the 1x that I picked up. So I'm going to go lay out some measurements here and see if we can make it work. Okay, so we're going to base everything off of this one 12-inch square. So I'm going to take this slat. You kind of look here on the sides. If we're looking at half of this, so we're just going to take this 1x, we're going to take the edge of it, we're going to cut it at a 45 here once we figure how wide we want to go. And then the rest of these are just a 1x that's cut in half. So I'm going to cut 2 of these in half, and then I think because it's smaller, I'm going to cut 1 more of them in half again, just so I can make the fronts of these just a little bit smaller. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to go rip out some more. Be right back. Alright, well, we got everything all cut down the sides here. So the first board is going to be the back. So this is what's actually going to mount it to the wall. And then these two with the angles, obviously, are going to be mounted right here on the sides. Now I went ahead and cut these, but you're going to want to cut these boards down to fit on the inside, or you can leave them the same length. It's totally up to you, however you want to make it. I went ahead and cut mine to go on the inside just to get a little bit more of a low profile look. So we're going to run this board with a slight gap against the back, just so everything can breathe. So then this back will hold it here, and the next one is going to go right to the very bottom of my 45-degree angle, and the next one is going to end up mounting on here, It'll mount about halfway up. Now I did rip the very last one in half, so what I'm going to do with that one is I actually measured the thickness of the end of this 45-degree angle, and then I ripped these boards down to fit it. So this will actually sit flush with the very top and with the base of that cut. So that's going to end up making a little shelf. So I'm going to get some glue. We'll get this thing glued together and nailed together. Let's hold that together nice. I will put a couple of clamps on this when I'm all done putting it together to really kind of hold everything together and get that glue to set, just to make sure it's all held together really nice. Again, I want this one to be flush. So what I'm going to end up doing is make sure I lay this one flat on the workbench. There we are. So that'll be one shelf. Mount that. So that's half of that 1x4. So now that I know all my cuts and all my measurements, I can go ahead and throw another one, and the second one will go pretty quickly. So that's all finished. You can be able to put, I don't know, you can put 5 or 6 nice apples and whatever you can inside there. So bag of apples in one, put oranges in the other.